Hey there, so are you planning on making a move out here to Salt Lake City, but you continue to hear more about the housing market? You're wondering, is now a good time? Is it not? Well, you're in luck. This video is for you today because we are going to dive right into Utah's housing market, what we're seeing, what we're expecting, and let's hop into it right now. Mariah here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. This channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If that is of interest to you, consider subscribing down below and tap that bell for notifications so that you are notified weekly every time we drop a video. We hear from people like you all the time who are relocating or looking to make a move here to Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you are thinking about making a move in a week, in a month, or even a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and it would be our pleasure to connect with you. Hey there, so you're thinking about making a move to Utah, but you're not sure this is the right time because of the housing market and increase of interest rates. You want to know about what's going on. Well, you're in luck because today we're going to just hop right into it, and I'm going to share some things that I have been seeing here in Utah. And let's go ahead. So number one, yes, we have seen a huge shift in the housing market. And in fact, it was interesting. I was just talking to a couple of agents recently, real estate agents here in Utah. I had showed their listing to some buyers that I had looking, and they said, you know, the house has been on the market for 20 days. What is going on? I said, well, we are back to more of a normal market, as they would call. The last 2 years here in Utah, it was not uncommon for a house to get put on the market and to receive 4 offers within 24 hours. At least by the weekend, you would have had multiple offers. And so we are not seeing that here in Utah. So it was not uncommon for, you know, the average days on market to be below 7, you know, below a week, and houses were just flying off the market. Now we are seeing houses are sitting on the market anywhere from 30 days to even maybe a little bit longer than that. But that is more of a, what we call a normal market. And this listing agent that I was just talking to the other day, they're like, Mariah, the house has been on for like 20 something days. My clients are starting to feel really uneasy and uncomfortable. And I said, well, welcome to the shifting market. Welcome to this more normalized market where, yes, houses are sitting on the market. The number of the average days on market are, you know, right around 30 right now. In some areas, they're a little bit more, some they're a little bit less. But that is what we are seeing here in Utah. So it is not uncommon for, if you are selling your house, for it to be sitting for a lot longer than it was before. So that's number one. Number two, because of the increase in interest rates that we have continued to see, you know, last year you're looking at rates somewhere around 3-4%. Now we're seeing rates in the 6s and even the 7s depending. However, there are so many different lender incentives. If you are thinking about buying right now, there are a lot of new lender programs that are being rolled out. I was just talking to one of my lenders the other day, and he was like, oh, do you know about this new 2-in-1, you know, buy down program? And I was like, no, tell me about that one. And so there are different programs right now that they are rolling out where you will pay a certain interest rate, or you can buy down, you know, an interest rate for a year, for 2, for 3, for a certain amount of time, or you will prepay that that rate before. So there are a lot of different, you know, lender programs that are being rolled out right now. So if you're thinking like, hey, yeah, I want to buy a house, but I don't know if that 7% is going to make sense for my family and I, or I don't know. There are a lot of options right now that are happening, and that new programs that continue to be rolled out week after week. So feel free to reach out if you're looking for preferred lenders or you're looking for a lender to work with. Lots are coming down the pipeline. So that's number 2. Number 3, the amount of inventory we are seeing here in Utah is a lot more than we've seen in the last couple of years, because houses are sitting on the market longer, because there are more homes on the market now. There's a lot more to choose from. So buyers are having, it went from, wow, this is a seller's market, to more of, a buyer's market where buyers are getting to be selective. Buyers are having more of a say, like, hey, you know what, maybe I want to think about this house for a day, a week, but for a lot longer than they were having before, where buyers before, it's either, yes, I got to make an offer on this, or it's going to be gone tomorrow. I have some clients right now too that we're really interested in a property, and that listing agent, she's been calling like, what are they thinking? Her sellers need to sell because they are relocating and they need to get out. And I said, my buyers right now are on the fence. So they're looking at a couple of different things, and they just have, not for everything, but we're seeing buyers have a moment to breathe and they have more time to make the decisions. In addition to that, if you are purchasing a home, a lot of times now you are not having to waive your contingencies. You're not having to waive your inspections or the appraisals. There's not these huge, escalation clauses that we were seeing before, and just a lot of things that we were seeing in the last couple of years. We're not seeing that. So buyers have time to do all of their due diligence and to take time to do their inspections the right way. So that is another big incentive right now for buyers. Going along with that, buyers right now, if they are purchasing a home that is being resold, I know so many, I've seen this just week after week after week right now, of sellers giving seller incentives. There have been sellers willing to do seller financing. There are sellers right now that are willing to buy down some of the closing costs. There are sellers that are willing to give money toward the buyer for, to buy down an interest rate. So there are a lot of incentives right now that sellers are giving to buyers, which we have not seen in the past. And then also something that we are seeing here too is we are seeing a lot of price reductions of where it was. We know over the last 2 years, prices just continued to go up. In fact, it went up 30% at one point, and then it came back down, and now it went back up 17%. But now we're seeing prices are just kind of, I don't want to say flatline, but have not been going up drastically. And we are seeing a lot of price reductions. So even though interest rates are higher than they were, the last couple of years, buyers are still in some situations are able to get ahead because they are getting seller incentives. They are not having to waive their contingencies. They are also, not competing with multiple offers, so they're not paying over list price. And in fact, a lot of those list price have been reduced from where they were before. So I know sometimes people are like, well, the interest rate's so much higher, but I'm like, you're right, but it all comes back to numbers of, hey, if what you're actually paying, that purchase price that you're paying, and then over time, we say, hey, if you really like the house, marry the house and date the rate. And there is a good chance that interest rate that you lock in now, that there's a good chance if you're in a 30-year fixed rate, that will change over 30 years. Or if you're in a 10-year, 15-year, whatever it is that you are locked in, there's a good chance that rate will eventually go down. You can lock in at a lower interest rate. So that's what we are seeing right now, that buyers are having a lot more say and a lot more leverage right now. And the same goes for new home construction. If you are looking at getting into new home construction, buyers right now, there is a big incentive for them too. Lenders are giving big incentives with those builders if you use their preferred lender. Also, we are seeing that they're giving design option incentives. They are also giving rate lock incentives. I've seen lots of new home builders here in Utah saying, hey, you know what? If you lock in here, we will guarantee that rate lock for X amount of months or years or whatever that is. So the new home construction, that might be a route that you want to look at too, but we're definitely seeing from the resale, and we are also seeing from new home constructions, buyers, if you are looking to buy now, this is what we are seeing. So another question that I have gotten is, Mariah, are sellers still selling in this market? Well, that is a great question. Yes, absolutely. Sellers are still selling in this market. I just talked to a family the other day that they are relocating to Florida because they've got family that's there and aging parents, and they're like, you know what, we need to get to Florida, and so we're selling. I just talked to a family recently too that they are relocating out of state because they took a job out of state. So you are seeing, the relocating here to Utah, but you are also seeing relocating out of Utah too for different life circumstances. So yes, people are still selling, and yes, people are still buying. And again, there are a lot of incentives right now for buyers who are either looking to go the new home construction or also to go resell. And one more thing with new construction that I'm seeing too, a lot of builders over these past few years, they have been, if you wanted to get into new construction, you had to be on a waiting list a mile long. We're not seeing that right now. In fact, I'm seeing a lot of new home builds. They have some houses that are already built and ready to go. And so they have what are called quick move-ins. And so a lot of these new home builders, there are homes now that are sitting, waiting for somebody to move into it, which we were not seeing that before with new home construction. They couldn't build houses fast enough for people to get in them. So you had these long waiting lists, but now we are seeing some have quick move-ins that are already ready. Just keep this in mind though, if you want to be represented by a real estate agent that is not affiliated with the new home construction, make sure either number one, you take your real estate agent with you, or number two, you make sure you tell them, hey, you know what, I'm already working with somebody, and make sure you give them their name, your real estate agent's name, so then they won't bother you of, calling you and telling you all those things. They will contact your agent directly so that you will be represented by your own real estate agent. So just keep that in mind if you're thinking about going the new home construction route. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of a snapshot of the housing market here in Utah, what we are seeing. Yes, it's still a good time to buy. Yes, it's still a good time to sell if the numbers make sense for you and your family. I know sometimes people say like, oh, well, Mariah, we want to move, we wanted it. And I said, let's just take a look. My husband's a tax accountant. So a lot of what we do is just purely numbers based. You meet with your lender, you meet with your accountant, you meet with the people that and that will know your numbers and your situation. And if it makes sense, great. Then we would love to help you in that process. If it's going to take a little bit more time, then great, let it take time. But something here in Utah too, we are continuing to see rents increase for sure. And the number of rentals that we are seeing here, we're not seeing lots and lots of rentals. Something to be aware of too, just with rentals, is depending on where you're at too, they can increase those prices in rents. So those monthly costs that you're seeing, that can increase. And I've talked to some renters lately that were like, hey, you know what, we've been thinking about buying, and now like with our rent continuing to increase, we're looking at our monthly expenses and we're realizing it's still a better time for us to buy than it is to continue paying this rent each month. So again, you know your finances and your situation best, but if you're thinking, hey, you know what, I'm not totally sure about this, then I've got some great lenders that I work with on a regular basis. And if you want to crunch some numbers and see if, hey, you know what, maybe this is a good time, maybe it's not, but you would be able to know that best. So if you are thinking about making a move out here to Utah, and like I said, in a month, in a week, in a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, or send us an email, and it would be our absolute pleasure to connect with you. Take care and have a great one. Bye.